you concerned about unity issues between the federal government and the provinces?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody is. But again, I think it's just being brought on by a few out there. I won't go into which province and whatever province is causing the turmoil. But I think again, like question period, if everybody just relaxed and started acting like grown-ups and went to the table and started a conversation about what's going on right now in the world and how it's affecting what's going on in Canada, I think maybe they could get themselves in a better situation.
I mean, being from Sask, we feel it, right? Like our provincial government doesn't get along with the federal government necessarily. So, I mean, we definitely can understand that. I'm concerned about it, but I'm not a very political person, so there's nothing really that I can contribute to that conversation necessarily.
Yeah, I think each province has their own needs that are not the same across the board, and we're a huge country, so I think the federal government really needs to learn how to compromise and understand that there are differences, cultural, geographic, and they need to be taken into account, and it's not a one-size-fits-all for every group of people geographically.
I am, because we need unity in this country. We're a free country. We have a lot to offer many different countries. And again, it's coming down to the fact that the current Liberal Party and how it's led isn't taking into consideration the provincial leaders and their needs and what they have going on as well. And unless we can get them both aligned, nothing's going to happen. And it will eventually, not in the near future, but will eventually break the country apart.
I mean, these have been problems since Confederation. I mean, a lot of people forget that the original separatist was Nova Scotia. Like, there's always been, harmony and dissonance between provinces. It's just an inevitability. It's going to rise and fall, and the federal government does have, I think, a responsibility to make, extensions as representatives of the entire nation to the smaller provinces. But the provinces also have to be willing to make concessions as well, because they collectively make up, our country. So it's always going to happen, and there has to be continuing dialogue, and there will be bumps along the way. And I just think it's something they have to continue to work on.
Well, Canada is a dominion. We are a collection of people, and I think it's important that our federal politicians can speak with our provincial politicians, and it's important that they meet, have an opportunity to come to agreements on important issues.
I probably have to say yes, but just unity in general, right? Out of everyone. I think that we're in a tense time right now, especially in the past couple of years. Not that we haven't always been, but specifically now. And I think that it's important that we just pull together and we go towards the same direction, and just for the best of for all Canadians and their safety and whatnot.
I am concerned. I think it's important for Canada to stay united. And unfortunately, I sense that there is a bit of posturing by some of the provinces that is totally unnecessary. And it should get together and on the same page, and we need to be united as a country.
Not that much. Because I think federal and provincial, the voices are there, and it's the same on both sides of the coin. It's the federal, municipal. The parties are the same, whether it's provincial or federal. So the voices are there, and the voices are being presented. So I don't think that's much of a priority, in my opinion.
I think it's probably like a symptom of a bigger problem where politics is just becoming more polarizing across all demographics. It's obviously a concern, but I don't think just addressing the division between the provincial and the federal governments is actually going to really solve the bigger issue of people becoming more sort of set in their ways and not willing to sort of reach across the aisle and find a compromise that works for everyone.
It's always in the back of my mind. There's some provinces that feel they're not getting dealt with fairly all the time. And the first step is, if you're not going to play fair with me, we're going to leave. So there's always that concern that there will be some disjointed or whatever. But I hope that we stay together as a nation and try to work it out rather than just walk away.
Unity, I don't know. Unity is a relative thing. You know what I mean? The provinces got just like the opposition. They have to have their somewhat independence, and they have to have their say about that and things they don't agree with, or push the government to give them more, like we all do. But you know, people got to realize too that the government, the money has comes from us. So if they don't get more from us through taxes or permits or fees or whatever, they won't have the money for our public services. But we're always begging them for more public services, right?
There has to be some type of unity. Especially when it comes to health care, the federal government has basically said, well, you do this and we'll give you the money for that. But until you do this, so how can they do this if they don't have the money? You get my point.